Alright, now we're going to make angle bisectors on triangle 2. So make sure you have the triangle that has the 2 in front of it. And just like we did on this card where we had the 2 angles, and to find the angle bisector, we took this side and folded it on top of that side. We're going to do the same thing. Now here's something to keep in mind when you're folding. Your angle bisector has to go through this point right here. So make sure when you're folding it that you're kind of pinching at that point so the line goes through the middle of your angle. Okay, so we're going to start with angle A. If I want an angle bisector at angle A, it's going to start at A and come down this way. So I'm going to take side AC and fold it on top of side AB. Okay, so take side AC right here, fold it on top of AB. Okay, and see how my lines right now are not together? I'm going to scoot it over till it's together. I'm going to come down here and find point A, and I'm going to pinch it at A to make sure it goes through A. I'm going to line up that side. So see what I've got now? I've got my AC sitting on top of AB. And I'm going to lay it down on the table and crease that. I'm going to open it up. Do you see I have the line going through A? So take your ruler and line it up on that crease you just made. And draw that segment. Okay? So what you just made was an angle bisector, which means this angle is congruent to that angle. Okay? Now we're going to do the same thing for C. So we're going to take side CA and fold it on top of side CB. So I'm going to take CA and put it on top of CB. And if you need help with any of this folding, hit pause, come grab me, and we will help you. Okay, once you have that lined up, crease through, open it up. You see how it's going straight through C and goes straight through the middle of that angle? So now I'm going to take my ruler and line up on that crease I just made. Oh, I didn't draw that very straight. Okay, so there's my angle bisector, and I've got this angle is congruent to that angle because we just folded the angle in half. So these two angles are congruent. That's an angle bisector. All right, do it one more time with angle B. So you're putting side BA on top of BC. I'm going to like pinch it at B right here to get these folded over. Hang on, I'm having trouble seeing mine. Okay. Okay, now you've got the angle bisector going through there. Take your ruler and trace the crease you just made. Okay, and then, so since this is an angle bisector, we know that this side is congruent to this side. Okay, because those are, or this angle is congruent to that angle because it's an angle bisector. Now, your triangle, you've just made 3 different angle bisectors, and they all connect right here at this point. Do you remember that point's called? That is a point of concurrency. Point of concurrency. So point of concurrency is when all these lines come together. We've already learned about the circumcenter as our first point of concurrency. This point of concurrency is called the incenter. That's the incenter. Okay, so I want you to come over here to your lines. This first line, I want you to write incenter. And what kind of segments did we use to create the incenter? Angle bisectors. Okay, so that's our angle bisectors, and if you remember from your poem, there's your IAB. On the example that I gave you, IAB stood for is always better. Whatever poem that you used, you need to remember that IAB really stands for the Incenter, which is formed by the angle bisectors. And so now we need to figure out why people care about an incenter. What's the purpose? How is this ever used in life? Well, do you remember when we did the angle bisector and we put a point on here and we decided that any point on the angle bisector is equidistant to the sides of the angle. So this point is the same distance to this side as it is to that side. Well, the same is true for the incenter. This point, the incenter, is on each one of these angle bisectors, which means it's the same distance to this side AB as it is to AC, as it is to CB. So to represent those, remember we talked about if I just took this pen and dropped it, it would hit at a right angle. So when we draw this distance between this point and the line, we draw the perpendicular segment. So take your ruler, make sure you get a ruler that's got a right angle right here, that's got a sharp corner. And we're going to take the flat bottom of your ruler and line it up with CB. So you don't want it to be like that. Make sure you've got it lined up straight. Make sure it's going through your incenter. And I'm going to do this with a highlighter. You're welcome to use a different color marker if you want to. And we're going to draw the segment here that makes the right angle. Okay, we're going to do the same over here on this side. You want to make sure your ruler's lined up with AC and make it go through the incenter. And then draw that segment and show the right angle. And then the same over here. Line it up and draw that segment. So these three orange segments that I just drew, they are all the same. So we're going to put a tick mark on each one to show the lengths are the same. And if you wanted to check that out, you could take your ruler. And again, this might be off a little bit if your incenter is not exact. But if I measure that one, it's almost 3 centimeters. This one is the same. And that one's the same. So all three are just about 3 centimeters. They're all the same length. So that's the property that I want you to know. So down here at this star at the bottom of your triangle, the reason people care about an incenter is it is equidistant. And that just means the same distance, equidistant from the sides of the triangle. Equidistant from the sides of the triangle. So, if this is 3 major highways or roads, and you want to build something that's the same distance to each road, that's when people use an incenter. Okay? All right. Take this and tape it on page 58. And again, just put a piece of tape at the top. We're going to flip this up and put something underneath it in your ISN. So just put a small piece of tape at the top right here and put it on page 58 in your ISN.